One of the president's favorite federal agencies is ICE. Under the Department of Homeland Security, ICE is getting bigger and stronger this year. That's a great thing. If you're a federal worker, if you're looking for job security, it could be a wonderful thing. But for other people, they're worried about it. So ICE recently, they just signed and they were able to attain some surveillance equipment. One of these pieces of surveillance equipment is the eye scanner, right? So it scans your iris. This is the technology that we used over in Iraq. We would stumble across a guy next to a cache. Maybe there were, a couple hundred rockets, and he was just suspiciously hanging out in that area. I'd be like, well, hold on. Gotta strap him up, right? Strap him up, take a picture of his face, scan his eye. It uploads it to a database, and they can cross-check it. Maybe he's wanted somewhere. Maybe he's a person of interest since he was so close to that cache, and we need to retain some of his biometrics, right? That was during a time of war, and it makes sense that ICE is procuring this type of equipment because that's the narrative right now. We have been invaded, according to the president. We have over 13 million undocumented immigrants currently in our country. There's a percent that do not wish well, that are involved in criminal activity. And the effort right now is to find those individuals and to take them back. Now, at times, it could go past the criminal activity. It could just be anybody who's undocumented, regardless of what they're doing. And a lot of people are concerned about it. A lot of people are concerned about their civil liberties. Because if you look, you would see that in one of these contracts, it specifically mentions Clearview AI. Now, this allows for the eye scanning on a mobile device, like a mobile phone. And this company, Clearview, they specialize when it comes to assaults against law enforcement. So you would envision assaulting an ICE officer. What does the word assault mean? Some people get this wrong. Some people are not tracking. They think assault is actually physically striking an individual. That is assault. But the definition here is more broad. So this would include threatening to strike. Like, hey, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go ahead and smack you upside your head. That would be a threat. I haven't done it yet, but that's a threat, right? Or it could be interfering with a search, or if you're interfering as ICE is detaining somebody, that would also be assault. You wouldn't even have to touch the ICE agent, but you could be perceived as interfering, and that would qualify for assault. Same thing if you're driving aggressively towards an ICE agent, that's also considered assault. So that is why that a lot of people during the protest, they get cuffed up. They slap the handcuffs on you and they put you in the back because you're doing one of those activities. You probably it didn't fall under your definition of assault, but yeah, for the government, you assaulted a federal agent, and that's why you're going away. So all of this raises civil liberty concerns. Being under surveillance by the government. A lot of people think that if you leave your house, pretty much every minute of the day, they're watching you, they're listening to your phone, they're tracking what you're doing. And to a certain extent, that might be true. Even inside your house, as you're navigating the internet, you're searching, I don't know what you're searching on Google, but you know what you're searching, and maybe they're checking that. So that could be a concern. Heck, you go to the airport. I don't know when's the last time that you flew out of an airport, but before you even get to the security check, a lot of times they're scanning your face. They're taking a picture of your face, and it's not optional. I know that's happening in DC. I don't know where you're at, but it's happening increasingly more, it seems. And then what about your social media? What are you posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? You're making posts, and what we're seeing happen is there's more of an effort to create databases where it's being stored. If you're a person of interest, or maybe you're not even of interest, maybe you're not interesting, but they're still saving it in databases. Even what I'm saying to you right now, maybe that's not okay. Maybe this goes into a government database. Who knows at this point? And that is the main thing that has people concerned. And to increase worries even further as it pertains to ICE, somebody was looking through their procurement records, which were public, and it shows guided missile warheads. And people were going nuts over that, like guided missile warheads. This procurement was only for $61,000, so it's a small award. Obviously, it's not guided missiles, because if it were guided missiles, that would cost hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million, depending on what it was. So this is probably for some sort of training device, flashbangs, or some other type of distraction device. So rest assured that that's not happening, at least not right now. Speaking of ICE, they're still very active across a lot of major cities throughout the country. You've heard of it. Chicago, for one. Over 400 people were arrested and deported recently out of Chicago, to include a police officer. How could this happen? How could you have a law enforcement officer being arrested by another law enforcement agent, and now they're being detained in Indiana? So allegedly, this individual has been overstaying his visa since 2015, so 10 years ago. But that doesn't make sense, because he was able to pass a background check, and he was able to pass the academy and was hired January of this year. January 2025, he's hired, he's doing his job as a police officer. I don't know if he's writing tickets or if he's responding to disturbances in neighborhoods, but he's serving the public in a capacity as a law enforcement officer, as a police officer, and he's arrested. I don't think these are the type of individuals that most people had in mind when it came to immigration crackdown. Because it seems like there was nothing, there was no misconduct with this guy. It's not like he's out there beating people or making phony arrests or anything like that. He was doing his job, what seems to be to the best of his ability, and he got caught up in an expired visa. So he's being detained until this situation is resolved. Okay, Los Angeles, California, you got over 5,000. Over 5,000 people arrested, deported. Portland, which made news recently, over 130 people in Portland. Okay, so with this increased presence across all these cities, as you can imagine, ICE is trying to hire more. They're trying to expand. And right now, if you wanted to join the federal government, if you wanted to be a federal worker, there's probably not a larger incentive that exists than what ICE is proposing. And that's $50,000. They're giving $50,000 to certain people if you're able to pass the academy and you stay for a certain period of time, you can unlock the $50,000. And there's a lot of different reasons why a person might be attracted to the agency of ICE. But you should know, if you go on usajobs.gov right now, that's where all the federal jobs are, you will find over 50 jobs open in ICE right now. There's also jobs open in the Department of Defense and Border Patrol, among others, but ICE, that's a big one. You'll see job announcements for the law enforcement positions. They're going to be open for like 9 to 12 months. They want people to keep applying. Not the same person, but they want to have a job announcement open, and they're encouraging everyone to apply. And they're maintaining a resume bank where periodically they go through there and they're like, okay, let's reach out to this individual. Let's interview this person. Let's start the hiring process with these people. So it's like an ongoing process. It's not like they have a vacancy and they just post one job announcement. That's not what's happening over there. But surprisingly, also in ICE, it's not just law enforcement. There's a lot of positions, medical positions that they need, that they want to hire. There's also administrative type positions like a program analyst, an administrative assistant. And these positions, they're exempted from the current hiring posture that we're at right now. As you know, the hiring freeze expired, but essentially it's prolonged indefinitely because it's the same criteria, right? There's like four or five main categories: public safety, law enforcement, national security, immigration enforcement. So those are the main categories. And you can get around all these barriers and hoops to jump through if you can attach the job to one of those core exemption areas. And that's what ICE is doing. Even for an admin person, they can still hire them. So if you're interested in that, it might be something to look into. But if you want to know a little bit more information about the $50,000, like how can I get the $50,000? What job is that for? It's for the law enforcement. It's for the ICE agent, the special agent in ICE. That's what it's for. If you want to know the eligibility and see if if you qualify, if you even want to try for that position, if that interests you, then check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.